Okay guys, we are just gonna hop right into it. I thought we could do a little chit chat Q&A here on the channel. I've never done anything like this before, but this was a video requested from Instagram when I was trying to come up with some video ideas the other day, and I was like, a chit chat Q&A would only be good and as strong as my coffee. So I have my coffee with some cinnamon oat milk creamer from Califia. I don't know what the name of the brand is, but it's very good. We're just gonna hop into this one. No intro needed, because if you're watching this video, you are probably already a loyal subscriber to the Debt Free Millennials channel. And if you aren't, hello, let's click that subscribe button and let's get into it. Number one, update on plans to buy a house in San Diego. Yeah, about that. So last week we went and toured a townhome. It was 1,000 square feet, 2-bed, 2-bath, listed at $795. We knew that we would have to offer something over the listing price, and so we thought, okay, the highest we could go is $855, and the realtor told us even that probably wouldn't get a call back, like that wouldn't get accepted. And so it just feels so defeating, and 1,000 square feet is actually less than what we currently live in. We live in a 1,200 square foot condo, and so to know that we would be downsizing, getting less space, and paying more for that particular spot, it's just frustrating. So it's basically on pause at the moment. We very much like our building, and we did sign another year-long lease, and that lease goes into effect on May 1st. Number two, are you ever tempted to move back to your hometown due to the high cost of living in San Diego? Yes, all the time. Not necessarily my hometown, but just moving closer to back home in general. So I'm from a town called Shawnee, Kansas, and that is basically like the suburbs of Kansas City. And Kyle's from Lincoln, Nebraska. And so we've definitely discussed moving either back to one of those hometowns or closer to those hometowns because our parents are still there. The thing about it though, and I was talking to my dad about this, is that while I loved growing up in Shawnee as a kid and, you know, going to high school there, and I love Kansas City, and I will always, always, always be a loyal Chiefs fan and a Royals fan, I just feel like my growth there is complete. It's complete. And so going back to that would feel like almost like taking a step backwards a little bit. I say that because I really do value my time there, but also I experienced so much professional and personal growth in San Diego. So I would be open to trying something new, like a newer city that may be closer to home. So yeah, it's definitely crossed my mind. Number three, tell us about your dream house. Okay, I love this because I frequently go onto Pinterest and do pins about my dream home. But my dream home is very simple yet modern. It's a mid-century modern home, lots of natural wood, lots of classic neutral colors, black, white, kind of that really nice like tobacco brown. Not like the nasty tobacco, but like that like caramel color, lots of green plants, just really beautiful, simplistic, modern. In fact, a lot of my furniture, except for the couch right behind me, a lot of my furniture is kind of that mid-mod style. So that would be very, very amazing. A great backyard where I could let out my future dog, a yard where Quinn could run around. I have a basketball hoop in the driveway. We have a great patio set and a barbecue for entertaining, perhaps a hot tub as well. A 2-car garage would be fantastic. I don't know if that's a lot to ask for, but I was talking about this too. Like the topic of home buying and dream homes has been on my mind a lot, but I was telling my sister, I was like, I haven't ever lived in a house outside of the house that I grew up in my adult life. So I've basically lived in 2-bedroom apartments since college, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, I've never actually lived in a house as an adult. And so it's like, I'm definitely itching to get to that place. Okay, number 4, if money and jobs were not a factor, where would you want to live? Whew. I mean, San Diego is not a bad spot to be in, you guys. Like, if it wasn't so crazy to live here, yeah, you could totally make San Diego long term. Other places if money and jobs were not a factor. I mean, New York City would be really fun to do. I don't know how fun it would be with kids, but I mean, Kyle and I had definitely discussed, like, that's something we could easily do, just the two of us, is live in New York City, just because there's so much to do. It's such a cool, crazy atmosphere, and Kyle doesn't have to drive. If you've watched this channel for a while, you probably know he hates driving, so that would be perfect. Number 5, what did you study in college? I got my bachelor's degree in marketing, and I got 2 minors, one in leadership studies and one in French. Number 6, now that Quinn is a bit older, how is your mental health? This person actually asked me this on Instagram. Thank you so much for asking this question. Mental health has gotten so much better. I'm still taking Zoloft for my postpartum anxiety, but to be honest with you, I keep forgetting to take it. At least once or twice a week, I kind of forget because I'm just doing so well. I'm just living my life and having fun, and I forget to take it. So I think that's a way that my body is saying, like, I don't need this anymore. So I do have an appointment with my primary care doctor next month to talk about weaning off of the medication. And I'm very excited to get off of it because I'm a holistic person. I really don't like taking medications if I don't have to. But trust me, I understand that there's a place for modern medicine, which is why I ended up getting on the Zoloft 3 months postpartum. So yeah, it's gotten so much better. And as Quinn has gotten older, I feel like motherhood has gotten more enjoyable for me. I love this stage of her life. She's going to be a year old next week, and so I'm really excited to see her communicate with us for the first time, actually understand things that we're saying. She's just learning so much. So number 7, how is Quinn doing? She's doing wonderful. I took a video the other day of her reading her general relativity book, so, you know, she's getting there. We're starting college like tomorrow, no big deal. Number 8, are there any lasting side effects from Quinn's hip dysplasia? This is a good question. So in November, we actually had our last and final x-ray with the orthopedic doctor that basically said she is cleared and healed. The doctor said it looked like there had never been any issues with her hips from the x-ray images, so she was cleared to do everything normally. And she has. She's crawling, she's learning to walk, she walks with like a little walker and like walking around furniture and stuff. She hasn't walked unassisted or like stand unassisted. However, she has had like that split second where she realizes like nobody's holding on to her and she's like, uh-oh, and then kind of drops to the floor. The one thing that I have noticed is that she does tend to kind of like swing her right hip around and her right leg around instead of like, you know, taking steps forward. It's kind of like she's swinging one foot around every single time. So I have been curious about that. I've been meaning to take a video of that and send it to her doctor and ask her, is that like a side effect of the hip dysplasia? Otherwise, absolutely no issues. Okay, number 9. I was wondering what resources, websites you use to help find freelance opportunities. I'm interested in how you got started and what types of ideas you have for someone who wants to do some freelance work, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if you are interested in getting started in freelance writing or freelancing, whatever, graphic design, videography, transcribing, definitely check out this video up here. I will link to that in the cards. I have like 4 tips to help you get started. I also really followed Pat Flynn from the Smart Passive Income on how he got started with his online business. His isn't so much geared towards freelancing, but freelancing does apply. So for me, the freelancing really started with freelance writing and copywriting. And what I ended up doing was I networked within my own personal, professional network of friends and family, professionals that I had worked with in various industries, coworkers, and that's kind of how I started. And I just said, hey, I'm available to do copywriting, or I went to friends who were copywriters or friends that I knew who were freelancing, and I said, hey, like if you have any clients who need help in this area, let me know. So I never competed with my friends. I always collaborated or offered this as like an additional add-on, and from there the business kind of grew. I think that's my two biggest pieces of advice, is to follow somebody who's already kind of doing that or offering those services to help you get started in the freelancing business. Pat Flynn, he's awesome in helping people get started with their own businesses, and then also relying on your own professional network to start telling people, hey, if I offered this service, is this something that you would pay for? And then see what happens. Number 10, does Kyle have the option to work from home? Yes. He does. He works remote since the pandemic. Before the pandemic, no. That was like a hard no. His job has a very conservative culture. Everybody is required to go into the office. Once the pandemic hit, that culture has started to slowly change. I think there are still some coworkers or some people in his office that really value having people like on location, while there's other people who really value working from home. Especially in a very highly populated city like San Diego, it can be a very big challenge for people to get to work, and commutes are often 45 minutes to over an hour long. He's been able to remote work part of the time. It depends on what projects he has and what deadlines he has. So if he's got a big project with a big deadline like he does this week, he'll pretty much go into the office the entire time. But if he is just business as usual, things are under control, and there's no crazy deadlines, then he can kind of do like 3 days from home. So that's been nice, kind of, because when he's here and I'm here and the nanny's here with the baby, it's a house full. On that same vein, what is Kyle's career? I enjoy your beers and budgeting. Thank you so much. I enjoy the beers and budgeting too. Kyle is an engineer. So he's got crazy projects. Sometimes he has really fun projects. He is definitely a thinker and a go-getter. He also has a very entrepreneurial mindset. So I like seeing that blended with his engineering skills, because he's very much like that science side brain and I'm more of the art side brain. So it's a yin-yang relationship. That's why our marriage works, I guess. Okay, last question for this chit chat. When saving for a down payment, should I invest the money in index funds or use something else? I will tell you what I've been doing, what we're doing now, and you can take that with a grain of salt. Take this for education purposes. I'm not a financial advisor or a CFP, but it really depends on when you are wanting to purchase that home. We have a portion of our down payment in an index fund. We actually have it in a bond index fund inside of a brokerage account. Now, when we go to withdraw that money, we will have to pay a capital gains tax on any earnings that we've had in that account. Another note is, if you have it in an index fund, even if it's a bond index fund, which is typically more conservative, right? Lower interest, but higher interest than like a high yield savings account, there's still a risk that you could lose money in that account. So you have to be willing to weigh that risk out to say, oh, I'm gonna purchase this house in 5 or more years. Could be worth the risk. You could ride out any dips in the market that may happen throughout that time. If you are looking to purchase a home very quickly within maybe like the next year or two, I would consider keeping the bulk of your down payment money in a high yield savings account. The only downside with this, a big downside of this, is that the interest rates paying out on high yield savings accounts are extremely low right now. We're talking 0.5%. That's not even keeping up with the 7.5% inflation increase that we experienced last year. So I think a blend of both is a good way to kind of still make sure you have liquid cash on hand, but also make sure that that cash is moving and increasing with inflation by putting it in something like a bond index fund inside of a brokerage account. That's what I personally do, and that's how we've built up our down payment to $138,000. Those are all the chit chat Q&As I have. I hope you had fun just kind of chatting and drinking coffee with me on this one. I've never done this, so if you like this style of video, let me know by giving this one a big thumbs up, or if there's something that I didn't address in this Q&A, leave me a comment below and I'll catch you in the next one.